Let's talk about installing a data logger on a typical DX split system where the condenser is totally separate from the air handling unit. In this case, we're going to have to install a separate data logger to pick up the current that the system is using. And we'll have to have a number 2 data logger inside on the air handling system so we can put the temperature sensors in the airstream of the return air and the supply air. This is very simple to do. You start the data logger using the instructions that came with the software, being careful to set it to record either every 1 minute or every minute and a half. You want to make sure you can collect at least 1 week's worth of data. And obviously the sensor needs to be sized properly. In this case, this Ampere probe is much too large for this particular system, so we would use a smaller Ampere probe. Actually, from the standpoint of accuracy, the larger probes don't read very accurate for a smaller amount of current. So we typically want to use the right size AM probe. Typically, we'll pull off this inspection panel, attach the AM probe on L1, and being very careful to wind the wires around the data logger, we'll put this inside this system here to measure the baseline for a week. Then we'll come back, and using the laptop computer, we'll download the data that we've collected, and at the same time we'll export the data into the Excel spreadsheet so that we can examine the data and make sure that it's exactly what we want before we treat this system with ice cold. Because once the system is treated, you can never get baseline information again. Once we're sure that the baseline information is correct and complete, we'll install ice cold in this system, and then we'll let it run for another week so the ice cold will fully react. And we'll come back and we'll restart the data logger, this time to collect the post-install data. It's very important that we use the same post-install week, hours and days as we did for the baseline. This way the internal heat load habits will be the same for the baseline and the post-install period. After retrieving the post-install period data, we do the same thing. We download the data logger. We very carefully export the data into an Excel spreadsheet on the laptop and review the data, make sure it's exactly what we want before we remove the data logger and button the system back up.